Kanċillier, il-Professur David Attard, il-Rettur, il-Professur Alfred Vella, il-Prorettur, il-Professur Tanja Sammud Bonnici, Sinjuri, huwa ta' sodisfazzjon kbira l-Università ta' Malta li nilqawkom għal din iċ-ċerimonja ta' gradwazzjoni, it-tieni waħda minn sensiela ta' 18 il-ċerimonja ta' gradwazzjoni fil-livell postgraduate. F'din is-sessjoni ta' gradwazzjonijiet ta' snin 2022 u 2023 ninfurmawkom li ser jiggradwaw b'aktar minn 1500 student fil-livell postgraduate. Fosthom hemm 54 dottorat li minnhom 44 huma dottorati ta' riċerka fuq sma varji. Nibdew iċ-ċerimonja billi nistieden lill-Professur Simon Merċieqa mill-Fakultà tal-Arti sabiex jindirizzana. Il-Professur Simon Merċieqa.
Dear Chancellor, Rector, Prorectors, members of the academic body, academic registrar, administrative members of staff, distinguished guests, parents, graduates. In 1771, in this very building where we are gathered today, a heated discussion took place about how the university statute could protect human dignity of the academic staff and students. A consensus was reached that the best way forward was to keep the existing statute of the old Collegium Melitense that was suppressed in 1768, adding to it a new statute, and these two statutes were to govern as one united set of rules the modus operandi of the university that was instituted by Grand Master Pinto in 1769. Hence, in 1771, the old met the new. This formula was to become the vade mecum of this alma mater, to the extent that in the early 19th century, the University of Malta was considered to have been officially founded in the year in which its statutes had been formalized. This successful blueprint was put to the test in 1798 by Napoleon Bonaparte, who, despite his own reforms, failed to eradicate the concept of unity in diversity that the fusion of the old with the new statutes had brought about. Even though the working documents for drawing up the statute were deemed insignificant by the new French rulers, to the extent that they simply binned them, the registers were retrieved by pious souls and used to rebrand the university as a defender of free speech. The proverbial phoenix succeeded in rising from the ashes. The fusion of tradition with progressive ideas would be proposed to the new British rulers after the latter gained control of the islands in 1800. Vincenzo Tei, an Augustinian monk, seized the opportunity following the support his brethren had given the British in the takeover of Malta and Gozo to convince the newcomers to reinstate these older structures, thus guaranteeing the reestablishment of that superstructure that Bonaparte's tendentious reforms had eradicated. In modern parlance, this move can be described as an attempt at decolonizing the curriculum from the influence of the French Republicans. While the concept that there should be no separation of powers between the university and the ruling authorities continued to be maintained, the university succeeded in once again reaffirming the principle of academic independence. This enabled this institution to continue being accessible to new concepts of inclusivity as understood back then. Thus, while in 1771 diversity was understood as the right of any member from different religious orders, as well as secular individuals, to lecture at our alma mater, from 1800, diversity started to be perceived as a right for those not adhering to the mainstream Catholic faith to teach at our university. Already, in the early decades of the 19th century, our university enrolled and protected, among others, individuals like Michele Anton Vassalli and Clerico Naudi, who had embraced Protestantism and Anglicanism, respectively. It employed Giuseppe Wettinger, an agnostic, to teach physics and mathematics, and Ahmed Fares al-Shidiak, a Christian turned Muslim, to teach Arabic. The latter is the most important academic to have ever taught at our university. He is considered the father of the Arabic Nahda, or awakening. After the Napoleonic experience, our forefathers believed that the relevance of our alma mater lay in it being Malta's beacon of free speech. Therefore, it was no coincidence that members of this institution begged the granting of liberty of the press in 1839. As a nation, we should feel honored and privileged to have been the second country in Europe after Great Britain to have enjoyed freedom of the press and have kept it and treasured it uninterruptedly, except during the period of the Second World War. Today, this is a value that needs to be constantly nurtured by academia, because freedom of expression can never be taken for granted. What these scholars did was to astutely guarantee their own autonomy and independence by promoting an educational system and cultural values that were inspired by the writings of Giuseppe Mazzini. Mazzini's political theories democratized the Enlightenment. This allowed those championing French culture not to be seen as being pro-Napoleon or backing the atrocities committed by the French Republicans in the name of freedom, fraternity, and equality. Mazzini's personal life history, together with his discourses on rights and obligations, are the historical proof of the extent his influence had on our university. Incidentally, as proof, like in France, in the past, the police and other military personnel could never enter the university premises in uniform unless at the specific request or invitation of the rector. This praxis was introduced and upheld in support of free speech for all academics and students. In those days, free speech was not seen as a human right, but as a guarantor of human dignity. This is the basis of a progressive civilization. And why is academic freedom a value that our university needs to cherish and guarantee? In 1800, Maltese society was faced by a cultural, economic, and a political crisis. The re-establishment of our university was a response to this crisis. Today, our society may be facing a fourth crisis, besides the three already mentioned, and this is a demographic one. Whether we will like the outcome or not, our society is going to be differently composed from what we have known so far. Even the rest of Europe is facing similar challenges. There are demographers, and I would state these are demographers who are Marxist today, who think that the European Union will not be in a position to continue withstanding population pressure because of the lack of a shared culture. Hence, this union is destined to collapse. This will come about because the European Union erroneously is replacing its past Christian hegemony with a pseudo-cultural totalitarianism. In the meantime, religion, under different forms and guises, is making a steady comeback. Confronted with these challenges, two basic models are usually proposed: an open society and a closed society. Both are not perfect. Nor perfect is the way society conceives progress. While achieving progress was and still is the hallmark of this university, progress is not the monopoly of any political ideology. Perhaps the Scottish philosopher and economist Adam Smith's definition of progress comes handy here. Progress is what improves the lives of citizens. The debate today is how can this be achieved. Normally, the right views progress as the betterment of society through the respect of tradition and local customs. On the other hand, The left envisages progress far more from the French Revolution perspective and veers towards the cancellation of tradition and local customs. I am confident that our alma mater will continue to guarantee the presence of diverse thoughts while those of opposing opinions fight each other. At the same time, the academic staff should not shy away from entering the local fray and speak up, even though they risk being lynched by keyboard warriors, the media, or being subject to libel or put under scrutiny by quality assurance agencies. Irrespective of the way one views progress, the only thing that I augur is that our university continues supporting free speech. And with free speech comes the defense of the family, religion, and property. These concepts were always driven by the desire to guarantee to our nation and any person who sets foot on this island human dignity. Academics should face and bear all the challenges that may come their way to silence or coerce them. History has shown that our academic senate has a tradition that guarantees to both staff and students the right to freedom of expression without fearing any form of repression. It is now up to us and to you, students, who are graduating today, to continue with this tradition of self-guarding free speech from the onslaught of those who seek to kill it. It is up to you to defend the concept of private property, as well as to create what type of family you want for yourself and Malta. Never forget that it was these concepts, free speech, the defense of the right of the masses to own property, the family and religion, as purported by this university throughout its long history, that has made the small island great. Thank you very much.
Nistidinkom issa sabiex tisimgħu l-indirizz tar-rappreżentanta tal-gradwati, is-Sinjura Ingrid Sultana mill-Fakultà tal-Arti. Sinjura Ingrid Sultana.
Thank you. Dear Chancellor, Rector, Pro-Rectors, Member of the Council and the Senate, members of the academic body, academic registrar, administrative members of staff, distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues and friends. You cannot take more than 8. They need to be returned within 3 weeks. These were some of the phrases I heard as a child borrowing books from the library. First, there were the picture books, followed by books with fewer pictures, longer sentences, and more elaborate words. Then came the books whose only illustration was found on the cover. I was always excited to read stories, getting lost in different worlds and living vicariously through different characters. It is said that if you want to write well, you should read. But if you want to tell a story, you have to listen. When it was time to choose my area of research as part of my master's degree in health, medicine, and society, I decided to study the lived experience of people caring for persons suffering from diabetes. We probably all know someone who suffers from this disease, which affects around 10% of the Maltese population. My father was part of the statistic, with my mother taking care of him on a daily basis, and me lending a helping hand, usually in the form of a chauffeur, or reading aloud to my father when his eyesight was failing. You cannot take more than 8. This time, however, I was not choosing books off a library shelf, rather stories from a library of people. The daughters and wives I spoke to were surprised that someone would want to hear about their experience of caring for others. What was so special about something they did day after day, in some cases for years? I listened to these people's stories, punctuated with grief and suffering, and underlined with a sense of vocation. But there was something else. There was a shared understanding through our conversations. There was mutual recognition of the many strengths that are needed when helping someone to face an illness. Something that really struck me was the fact that many of the people I spoke to during my research were on autopilot mode. They were so focused on caring for others that they very often forgot to think of themselves. It was as if they were no longer the protagonist because someone else's story was much more important. Very often when visiting a doctor, we are asked, "What brings you in today?" This question is usually answered with a series of events leading up to our decision to seek medical advice. In other words, the story. At some point, the doctor will also take their patient's history. But how often is a thought spared for the person caring for them? Are they allowed the time and space to tell their story? If there is anything I have learned in the last 2 years, it is that being able to tell your story is fundamental to personal growth. But this cannot be done without first being able to understand ourselves, whether it is our choices, our attitudes, or our environment. And this is an ongoing process. My studies played no small role in that process, in part adding new layers of meaning and sense to my own lived experience of caring for someone suffering from diabetes. This awareness, in turn, enabled me to understand and connect with the people I spoke to throughout my research, leading to rich data and what I hope is a small thread in the great tapestry of knowledge in the field of medical sociology. There is great power in being able to tell your story. Whether it is a colleague or a stranger in a waiting room, there are stories all around us, and it is up to us to listen. The graduates who are gathered here today may think that the time for listening is over. There are no more lectures, no more feedback to be received. I prefer to believe that it is our duty to put our newfound skills and knowledge to use and recognize that there are many stories to be heard. Perhaps one way of doing this is making a conscious effort to listen and understand the needs of those around us. Necessity may be the mother of invention, but it is up to us to interpret that necessity and subsequently come up with an answer. Only this time, there is no test, there is no grade, just us and our ears. I would like to dedicate this speech to the silent hands, the watchful eyes, and the caring hearts of those who accompany others who are ill on their journey. My father ended his journey just as I began mine 3 years ago, and he has never ceased to be a source of inspiration since then. Speaking of journeys, my peers and I have reached an important milestone today. I would like to thank the Faculty of Arts, particularly the Sociology Department, for creating such a welcoming environment. I would also like to thank Professor Gillian Martin, Head of the Department of Sociology, for her continued dedication and support, particularly throughout the writing of my dissertation. Indeed, without her, the Master of Arts in Health, Medicine and Society program would not exist. Thanks go to my peers, including those who are in their final year, for their support throughout our studies, as well as their contributions to the lively debates we enjoyed in class. Finally, I would like to thank my family, in particular my husband, for his patience and unwavering support. As we congratulate each other on this momentous occasion, I think I can safely say that this is not the ending, but merely the continuation of our personal journey. Although the future may be uncertain and our goals may seem far away, we can take comfort from knowing where we started from and how much we have achieved. Congratulations to the class of 2022.
Loti tal-grati ta' Master fil-Fakultà tal-Arti. Master in Translation and Terminology Studies. Preclarissimi kandidati. Placuit autoritatibus universitati moderandi. Prefectis dignos vos declarare che laureansinibus de Ceremonies. Sponsor Professor Dominic Fenner.
Tuum in conspectum magnifica rector, adducimus hos lectissimos candidatus, omnibus laureae insignibus, more institutoque maiorum a te honestandos, cui a consiliaris et senatoribus, huius universitatis dignissimis presentati. Te mox rogabunt ut, tibi attributa potestate, eos magistros renuncies, atque in eius modi censu cooptatus adscriptumque nomines atque edicas.
Sofia Savoldelli.
Utitaque Deus, exoratus, vertat bene, nobis attributa auctoritate, te magistram eo iure censeri, et esse quo optimo sunt creati alii, edicimus et pronunciamus, tibique omnibus honoribus, cum laurea conjunctis, fruendi et utendi facultatem facimus. Capeiam collatie tibi dignitatis ornamenta, et quid illa instituto maiorum portendant intellege. Gesta sic toga manc, ut norint omnes te in magistrarum collegium allectam esse. Sit tibi liberalis pileus sic, veluti ornamentum laureum, quo donabantur post certamen victores, quantopere vero te de dignitate adepta, in totus academici cetus nomine gratulemur, testetur tibi ignoster amplexus.
Amina Lara Bua. In absentia, Aiden Buttigieg. Elaine Camilleri. Joseph Camilleri. Alessandro Cassar. Rachel Kauki. Habib Dozen. Jan Frenznik. Sean Psaila. Nicole Shiberras. Claire Antoinette Sepchat. Master of Arts in Archaeological Practice. Preklarissimi kandidati. Placuit autoritatibus universitati moderandi. Prefectis dinius vos declarare che laurea insignibus decoremni. Sponsor, Professor Dominic Fennick.
Tu in conspectum magnifice rector, adducimus host lectissimus candidatus, omnibus laurea insignibus more institutoque maiorum a te honestandus, cui a consiliaris et senatoribus huius universitatis dignissimis presentati, te mox rogabunt ut, tibi attributa potestate, eos magistros renuncies, atque in eius modi censu cooptatus ad scriptumque nomines atque edicas.
Debra Jane Camilleri. Li ġiet l-ewwel fil-kors tagħha.
Utitaque Deus exoratus vertat bene, nobis attributa auctoritate, te magistram eo iure censeri, et esse quo optimo sunt creati alii edicimus et pronunciamus, tibique omnibus honoribus, cum laurea conjunctis, fruendi et utendi, facultatem facimus. Capeiam collatia tibi dignitatis ornamenta, et quidilla instituto maiorum portendant intellege. Gesta sic togamanc ut norint omnes te in magistrarum collegium allectam esse. Sit tibi liberalis pileus hic, veluti ornamentum laureum, quo donabantur post certamen victores, quantopere vero te de dignitate adepta, in totus academici cetus nomine gratulemur, testetur tibi
Annelise Sajus. In absentia Marco Mion. Jessica Marie Shikluna Davids. Kirsten Toma. Master of Arts in Health, Medicine and Society. Preclarissimi candidati. Placuit autoritatibus universitati moderandi. Prefectis dignius vos declarare che laurea insignibus decoremini. Sponsor Professor Dominic Fenech.
Tuum in conspectum magnifice rector, adducimus hos lectissimus candidatos, omnibus laureae insignibus, more institutoque maiorum Mateone standos, qui a consiliaris et senatoribus huius universitatis dignissimi presentati. Temox rogabunt ut tibi attributa potestate, eos magistros renuncies atque in eius modi censu cooptatos ad scriptumque nomines atque edicas.
Ingrid Sultana li ġiet l-ewwel fil-kors tagħha.
Utitaque Deus exoratus vertat bene, nobis attributa auctoritate, te magistram eo iure censeri, et esse quo optimo sunt creati alii edicimus et pronunciamus, tibique omnibus honoribus, cum laurea conjunctis, fruendi et utendi facultatem facimus. Cape iam collatie tibi dignitatis ornamenta, et quid illa instituto maiorum portendant intellege. Gesta sic togamanc, ut norint omnes te in magistrarum collegium allectam esse. Sit tibi liberalis pileusic, veluti ornamentum laureum, quo donabantur post certamen victores, quantopere vero te de dignitate adepta, in totus academici cetus nomine gratulemur, testetur tibi ic noster amplexus.
Mario Angelo Buttigieg. David Chantar. Celia Mela. Christine Mikallef. Rebecca Mikallef. Gabriella Muscat. Lienia Spaniol. Ser nifqu sal-ftit minuti mill-loti ta' ċertifikati sabiex nisimgħu lil Malta Philharmonic Orchestra String Ensemble flimkien ma' soprano Alexandra Camilleri Gambin. Inkomplu bloti ta' ċertifikati mill-Fakultà tal-Arti. Master of Arts in International Humanitarian Action in absentia Barbara Bello, Emily Caroline Karen u Sara Dupont. Master of Arts in Mediterranean Studies, Clayton Abela. Conner Kassar. Alessia De Battista. Louise Fiot. Daniel Pavia Livori. Joseph Tong. Loti tal-grad ta' Master fl-Istitut tal-Bidla tal-Klima u l-Iżvilupp Sostenibbli. Preklarissimi kandidati, placuit autoritatibus universitati moderandi, prefectis dinius vos declarare, kel laurea insignibus decorim. Sponsor, Professor Maria Tart.
Tuum in conspectum, magnifice rector, adducimus os lectissimus candidatos omnibus laureae insignibus, more istutoque maiorum a te honestandos, qui, a conciliaris et senatoribus uius universitatis dignissimis prestate. Te mox rogabunt ut, tibi attributa potestate eos magistros renunciet. Atque in eus modi censu coptatos ad scriptosque nomines atque edicas.
Ranier Borch. Ritien Buhajar. Yolande Cassandra Newton. Loti tal-grad ta' Master of Arts in Conflict Resolution and Mediterranean Security fiċ-ċentru għall-istudju u l-prattika għal-riżoluzzjoni ta' konflitti. Preklarissimi kandidati, placuit autoritatibus universitati moderandi, prefectis dinius vos declarare che laurea insignibus decoremini. Sponsor, Professor Gordon Sammut.
Tum in conspectum magnifica rector addicumus os lectissimos candidatos, omnibus laurea insigmus more institutque majorum a te honestandos, quia consiliaris e senatoribus huius universitatis dignissimis presentati te mox rogubant ut, tibi attributa protestate eus magistros renunties atque in eusi modi, censu coptatus ad riscoptusque nomines atque edicas.
Alexandria Bianco, li ġiet l-ewwel fil-kors tagħha.
Utitaque Deus, exoratus, vertat bene, nobis attributa auctoritate, te magistram eo iure censeri, et esse quo optimo sunt creati alii, edicimus et pronunciamus, tibique omnibus honoribus, cum laurea conjunctis, fruendi et utendi facultatem facimus. Cape iam collatia tibi dignitatis ornamenta, et quid illa instituto maiorum portendant intellege. Gesta sic togamanc ut norint omnes te in magistrarum collegium allectam esse. Sit tibi liberalis pileusic, veluti ornamentum laureum quodonabantur post certamen victores, quantopere vero te de dignitate adepta, in totus academici cetus nomine gratulemur, testetur tibi hic noster amplexus.
In absentia Ambre Amestoy, Brendan Blair, Cameron Kassar, Jane Gillert, Sarah Heiderstadt. Ana Janine Hernandez Diaz. In absentia Medi Kopianski, Carlos Lucas, Grant Montoya, Claire Elizabeth Olivier u Stephanie Patino Garfias. Joseph Samut. Issa nitlob li gradwati l-ġodda jqumu bil-wifqa sabiex flimkien ngħidu l-affermazzjoni. Jiena nilqa l-onuri u l-privileġġi mogħtija li llum. Jiena nwiet li nħaddimhom b'responsabbiltà għas-servizz tas-soċjetà u li nagħmel hekk skont il-liġi u l-Kostituzzjoni ta' Malta. U fil-waqt li jiena membru tal-Korp Akkademiku tal-Università ta' Malta, nagħti kelma sħiħa li nimxi dejjem skont il-liġijiet u r-regolamenti tagħha. Fisem l-Università ta' Malta nifraħ il-gradwat il-ġodda u lill-familji tagħkom f'din l-okkażjoni speċjali. Proset tassew. Inqumu bil-wifqa għall-innu Malti. Tlobkom tibqgħu bil-wifqa sakemm joħorġu l-kanċillier, ir-rettur, il-proretturi u l-korp akademiku.
Amen.